Face a little wider.
And here we are again live with Sam and Jeremy for episode 9 of What Did I Want to Be When I Grew Up? Now, we weren't planning on actually doing a full episode this morning until we started talking about superheroes because, who didn't want to be a superhero growing up, right? Tell me, seriously, Sam, what superhero did you want to be?
Batman.
Batman. It was all about the gadgets.
Yeah.
Come on, you didn't want to be able to like burn holes through the wall with your laser eyes or anything like that?
Well, it's kind of unfortunate because that it's unfortunate that there isn't a superhero that has like all the cool abilities and everything because you know you have to take what you can get when you choose a superhero. It's like,
Well,
oh, but
I think
I
Captain Marvel, I think she comes pretty close because she comes into a battle and she pretty much destroys everything. It's like, why did we bother having this fight? She could have come in and destroyed everything with in like 10 seconds.
That's right. It's funny. There's this bit that Jerry Seinfeld did
Mhm.
in a stand-up I saw a long time ago. He said, trying to remember how he said it. He said something like, um, "We men, as we're growing up, reading about Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. These aren't fantasies; these are options." And then
Right.
he goes into this bit about superheroes, and I think that's when he's talking about Halloween, or I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I think he did
anyway,
a whole bit there about he was wearing the Superman outfit, really liked it. Had the face mask, but it had this like 5-cent rubber band on it that would break off after the first house snap, and it's like okay. But then he's also
yes,
wearing a winter coat because it's cold, and his mom makes him wear
yes.
the winter coat. They're like, "Oh, what are you dressed as?" "Oh, come on, I'm Superman. Look at my pant legs. You can really tell."
Yeah, yeah, can't you tell? Yeah, and he said they're like they're like pajamas and they're like loose and flowing,
Yeah,
that like
exactly.
unlike superheroes.
So true. Yeah, they don't really
Yeah,
fit that well because it has the, as he describes it, the super fit.
that's that's
And,
right.
well,
That's
you got
right.
something similar in the movie Megamind because you got our friend Titan, and I like it because it's the only name I could trademark, but Titan himself, he doesn't actually understand what a Titan is. He doesn't get the whole Greek mythology thing. So he thinks Titan is like to tighten something up, and that's how he spells it. When he uses his laser vision to burn his name into the city blocks of below him, he spells it Titan, which is appropriate in a way because, man, have you seen that outfit? It was like this big before he put it on. It stretched a lot.
I have not seen that movie. I've seen some Mega Man shorts, the short films, not like
You've really got to see
basketball
Megamind.
shorts.
It is one of the most underrated superhero animated movies. There's just a lot of really great bits in it. It's also a very quotable movie. But of course, the two most quotable we were just talking about before we started. What were those two?
Uh, not Count of
No,
Monte
Count of
Cristo.
Monte Cristo is pretty quotable too, though I don't consider
That,
that one a superhero.
that,
Though he does have
yeah,
the
that's
Bruce
not
Wayne "I'm
what I'm
super
trying
rich"
to.
kind of thing going for him.
Yeah,
But it was
that's right.
Monty Python
That's right.
and the Holy
Yeah,
Grail,
Monty
right?
Python. Monty Python. That's what I was trying to say.
And the Princess Bride, two most
No, The
quotable
Princess
movies of
Bride.
all time.
Yeah. You know, other movie is has some great quotable scenes. I had a hard time even watching it the first time. I I think I've seen it one other time, and I was like, I can't do this again. But it's really great to quote is Napoleon Dynamite. Did you
Oh
ever
yeah,
see that movie?
yes, I
Such a
did see.
bizarre movie, like no plot or anything, but it has these just moments that are that are really great. Um,
The weirdest
but
thing about Napoleon Dynamite is a lot of the scenes in there were incredibly relatable to myself and my siblings in weird ways. I mean, strange things. In the opening sequence, I think it is, they have a superhero figure that they hang on a string out the window of the school bus and they're dragging it along the ground behind the school bus. First off, why? Oh look, he's Superman. Or this little wrestler guy. He can fly. Look as he
that's right,
bounces
it's a
off the
little
pavement.
wrestler.
Right? He's getting ripped to shreds out there. You pull him back in after doing that for a school year, and he's just got little nubs for arms and legs or something like that. It just
Yeah.
it's terrible. But it's so relatable. I apologize if I've told the story before, but when we were
Yeah.
kids, we tried to be a little less destructive than that. We would save up our popsicle sticks in the summertime and form them into what the kids in our family described as Chinese throwing stars, because we wanted to be ninjas when, at least at one
Yeah.
point. So we take
Yeah.
the popsicle sticks, and if you stick them together just the right way, you don't glue them, you don't tape them, you just bend them just the right way and kind of weave them together, and it forms this
Oh, I see what you're
triangle or
saying. Yeah.
diamond. And if you hit it just right, or you throw it against a wall, it breaks apart in just glorious fashion, just popsicle
Yeah.
sticks flying everywhere. They're probably still dents in the old 70s paneling of that house from when we had throwing star fights. But it was way better than like the metal ones that would actually hurt you very badly.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
take those. One of my brothers got the brilliant idea. Let's take one of those, tie it on a string, and we'll hang it out the back of the truck or out the back of the station wagon. Oh yeah, those are. You remember
Yeah.
the old station wagon, that back seat facing
Yeah.
backwards? You have that awkward, eye contact with everyone else on the freeway as you drive. It's just, hi,
Yeah.
we're just here staring at you while you're staring at us. But so we do this. We wouldn't do that on the freeway. We would do this on like regular city streets when we could get away with it. We'd put a piece of string. At least my brothers did. I'm not sure I ever did. At least I won't cop to it because not
Right.
officially. But put it on a piece of string and let it hang out there, and it floats around in the breeze. And eventually, it'll hit the ground and shatter into the little pieces. And of course, the popsicle sticks don't actually break; they just fall apart. But then we've lost that collection of popsicle sticks. But it's so worth
Yeah.
it because it explodes. And fortunately, the popsicle sticks, they're not really dangerous to cars or people or anything like that. So they would break down eventually into a little biodegradable sort of thing. But one of my brothers one time got this brilliant idea, real smart. He wanted to see sparks. So he took some nails and taped them onto one of these. And I think to keep the star from breaking up, he actually taped it to keep it from breaking up. But he put some nails on the back of it. So he put it out there, and every time it hit the ground, there would be a little tiny shower of sparks. And that was really
wow.
cool. Oh, hey, look at that. All right. And then he pulls it back in, and we notice, didn't you have more nails on there before? So
Uh-oh.
we're worried that somewhere somebody got a flat
So-
tire because of the nail that came
Yeah.
off.
I was gonna say, like,
It's not a good thing
weren't
to
really
do.
thinking, weren't really being too considerate of other people on the road there.
Okay, back to superheroes. So if you could be Bruce Wayne, what is it about Bruce Wayne and Batman that is cool?
I think the thing that I always liked about that was that with the whole Batman story, it's possible that it could be real. It's highly unlikely, but it's possible, and I think that's very relatable.
Yeah.
Whereas Superman, it's like it's not even possible that anybody could, like fly or leap tall buildings in a single bound, that sort of stuff. It's just totally impossible. It's fun. You have to suspend some disbelief and that sort of thing to watch the movies, and that's totally fine. That's superhero movies in general. But Batman is, I think that's why at least some people, I don't know if everybody feels the same way, but I think that's why at least some people are kind of drawn to movies or characters like Batman, that
Mhm.
it's pretty far-fetched, highly unlikely that anything like that would ever happen, but you can fantasize about it,
And
and
it's-
it's like that.
It's in the
That
realm
could-
of possibility, right?
Yeah, like I could be that. Like,
Oh yeah.
what about you though? Which superhero growing up, or maybe even now, you don't have to admit if it's now, did you want to be, and why?
Ooh, there's, I don't know. It changed from time to time. Certainly, there's a lot of draw to the sort of Bruce Wayne, Batman kind of a thing. I think because of all the engineering stuff that I like to do, I'd be a little bit more like an Iron Man. So
I was
Iron
gonna
Man-
say, like,
right,
you'd
Iron
be
Man-
Iron Man.
he's basically Batman, but not as dark and moody, and
Yeah.
even relies far more heavily on his tech, right? Bruce Wayne, he
Yeah.
has got to be buff and work out to an insane degree because it's literally his physical strength against the bad guys. But Iron Man, you've got all these motors and servos and things that make you, almost, well, as strong as the Hulk at different points, right? Depending on when you
Right.
catch it in the cinematic universe. But
Yeah.
he relies very heavily on the technology even more so than the other ones do. And for me, probably that would be it, because I'm not all that strong. It would take a lot of workout for me to even get close to anything like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I really do like the realism of Batman, and definitely there's more realism to that, because don't even get me started on how much engineering work it actually would have taken to create the Iron Man suit as shown in the movies. This is not one guy. This is not even one billionaire guy in there. He would have an enormous team of people just working on servo controls and high power actuators and all of that. I mean, you're starting to get to the point where you could sell it where, all right, maybe his AI assistant is actually doing more of the design work than he is by a long shot.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
Jarvis, I need you to build me a high performance servo motor system that shapes over and looks like this. And you take one part AI image generator to get the design, and you need the equivalent AI of engineering. But the AIs aren't quite perfect yet, right? You ask a question, and
Yeah.
sometimes you get a completely made up, bogus answer. So you build your Iron Man suit, you go out and fly around, and you're like, okay, now I'm going to shoot some little missiles at the bad guy, and it turns out they're just decorative because the AI wasn't smart enough to actually make them functional.
Oh, yeah, and then you're in a really tight spot. Like,
Yeah.
uh-oh, these missiles don't actually work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, crud. Should have tested this before. Iron Man was another one. I thought that was a really great movie. Man, it's been so long since I've seen it. I think it was just the first Iron Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the origin story. Um, and that's another one that was similar to Batman in that sense that, very far-fetched, highly unlikely, but is it in the realm of possibility?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, like I said though, like highly unlikely,
One of the
but yeah,
things that about old school superheroes that was blatantly unfair in a lot of ways is that
yeah,
most of the superheroes were white male, right? And okay,
yeah,
for a large percentage of the audience that was interested in superheroes, or at least seemed to be interested in superheroes, all right, you're appealing to that little boy, little white kid in the United States kind of a thing. And it's really great that they have
right,
people now with different backgrounds and all of that. But even back then, they made at least a token effort to expand and have women. So one of the greatest women superheroes is Wonder Woman. Now, unfortunately, Hollywood got their hands on it and turned her into this hypersexualized, extremely
oh yeah,
underdressed kind of character. But putting that part aside for just a moment, if you just take Wonder Woman on her merits alone, the fact that they again did this in a Studio C sketch and pointed out the obviousness of this, Batman, he's safe from bullets because he's got this enormous Kevlar suit, right? Wonder
yeah,
Woman only has these little two bulletproof handcuff things, the little wrist things, and she has the reflexes to see a bullet coming and stop it by just moving her arm and deflecting the bullet. She has absolutely no physical protection from bullets, yet she never gets shot because she has bulletproof wrist cuffs and she can block every bullet. That's mind-blowing and so much better than, I mean, even than Superman, right? Because, okay, he's the Man
yeah,
of Steel, he's invulnerable, he could be taking a nap and someone can shoot at him and no big deal. But Wonder Woman, if she gets shot at, she's got to have those reflexes to block the bullet.
yeah.
So in that respect, she's awesome. I still really wonder, though, an invisible jet. On the old cartoons, she's flying her invisible jet, and to do that, they show this like halo-y outline, and then her. Like, okay, you have an invisible jet, but if we can see you flying around,
I
what's
know.
the point of the invisible jet? I can see you up there. I know you're
Yeah,
in a jet. I know I can see the contrail behind your jet. Just how exactly did
yeah,
that work?
yeah. I think that that piece was kind of missed. Like, what is it in Star Trek? Like, they have the cloaking
Hmm.
device. Like, the whole ship can be invisible, including everything
Right. But
inside.
if the crew
That's
were
what.
still visible through the windows, it's like, what was the
Yeah.
point?
Like, wait a minute. We see where you're going. Like,
Yeah.
we send photons in that direction where
Oh
those
yeah.
people are.
I really love the superhero movies that make fun of superhero movies and the cliches and all of that.
Yes.
One of the less well known but still really good ones is called Mystery Men, and there's some absolutely
Yeah.
fabulous scenes in there that just make fun of the whole superhero concept. So in recent Spider-Man movies, you actually had Spider-Man making his first costume before he gets the one from Tony Stark, right? And he's actually
Okay.
sewing it when he goes out and has his first cage match. It's in a costume that he has made, and you can tell the seams are a little off, Though honestly, I'm not sure Peter Parker could have sewed actually that well unless he was very, very good in his high school home ec class.
Right.
Maybe he got some friends that we don't know about that aren't part of the story to help out with that. Because, I mean, he's a good photographer, but is he really that good a seam? What's the male version of a seamstress? I mean, come on, how sexist is our language? That the guy can't even be a seamstress, right?
Seam-
But as far
Seamstro.
as somebody who can design and build clothes, right? Need good terms for that.
Yeah.
We need more gender neutral pronouns. That's what I'm saying for a lot of
Yeah.
different terms. But later on, of course, his costumes look really awesome. But in Mystery Men, they also make their costumes. So you have this entire group of wannabe superheroes sitting around these 1940s sewing machines using the little foot pedal, and they're all sewing their own costumes. It's just this great sequence. And another one, making fun of the way, how would the superhero, the official superhero in that show, get funding? Well, his costume is covered with logos. So he has the Coca-Cola logo and the Pennzoil logo and all of these logos all over his shirt. And after he goes in and saves the day one time, some reporter says, "Hey, I heard you lost the Coca-Cola sponsorship." And he was like, "What? I hadn't heard that." And he gets into a limousine to go back to his secret lair. And the other person in there is his publicist. And he spends the time driving back to his secret lair, talking to his publicist and complaining about how, "Hey, why didn't I know that I lost the Coca-Cola endorsement?" or something like this. It's funny to see them making fun of stories that way. But going way back, one of the stories that made fun of movies like that, of course, that's also a very quotable movie, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, because
Yeah.
back in the 50s and 60s, there were these massive movies, about scenes from the Bible, stories from the Bible, Ben-Hur, and all kinds of things like that. And they made Monty Python and the Holy Grail, searching for the Holy Grail, making fun of those kind of movies in a lot of ways. So Mystery Men makes fun of the superhero movies, and they really need either a reboot of that or another movie that makes fun of, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC comic, they've gotten a little out of hand, a little too out of
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
And maybe that's one of the biggest problems with the modern versions of a lot of the heroes. To make it engaging and interesting to modern audiences, we fill it with ridiculous levels of action, explosions, unbelievable superpowers, right? But
Yeah.
the genesis of superheroes is really just ordinary woman or man on the street who helps out in a time when they're needed. They're the good Samaritan. They're they see somebody getting chased down the street and they help raise the alarm and help save somebody. We don't know if they were just going to get mugged or if they were going to get killed, but that's an everyday superhero. And it's morphed into this. They have to have superpowers. And in a lot of ways, people don't. It's a lot less relatable, a lot less identifiable.
Yeah. 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 Did you? I'm sure you saw the Incredibles movies,
Hmm.
first and second ones. Those are so. I love the take on that they have on those movies, like how they like the first one. Mr. Incredible saves some man from. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen this. Saves a guy from. He was trying to commit suicide. Do you remember this?
Yeah,
This guy like
jumped
jumps
off
off
the
a
building.
building or something. Mr. Incredible saves him, and like he gets all these injuries in the process. The man who's being saved gets all these injuries, and
Hmm.
and then the guy sues Mr. Incredible, and
Yeah.
I can't even remember. All the other superheroes are kind of tied into it, and they have to go into hiding and all this stuff. It's a really interesting take on the realities of like, what if someone really was a superhero, really did have superpowers, and was helping in these ways, like, you know,
Yeah.
you
What are
have
the
lawyers stepping in and
real world
anyway,
consequences to? Yeah,
yeah,
you really need a secret identity so they can't sue you or something like that.
no, I know.
Mr.
Um,
Incredible's court cost the government millions.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That was, I thought that was a really like
There's
a
another one.
witty. Is John Lasseter part of that?
Yeah,
That was
he
a
was.
really witty,
Mhm,
um,
a fun take.
just like plot line. Yeah,
There was another one where they did a similar sort of what would it really be like in the real world as a superhero when they did the one with Will Smith called Hancock. So he is this bungling, drunk to the point where he can barely, think straight superhero. And, there's a police chase going on the freeway, I think, in the opening sequence. Some kid goes over and wakes him up. He's drunk asleep on a bus bench or something like that. And, foul mouthed and he can't even fly straight. He's all over the place, smashing into buildings and breaking things just on his way to stop the police chase. And the guys have, machine guns, and they shoot the heck out of him, and it destroys his sunglasses, and he gets ticked off at that. Drags their car up to the top of a building, sticks it on top of an antenna on top of a building, and just leaves him hanging there. And yeah, he's done tens of millions of dollars of damage in one day, stopping one car chase, when instead he could have just gone and, smashed the front of the car and stopped them, and then the police could get them and take them away. But instead, he does this whole thing. Very destructive. But there is one other point in that show, and a little bit in a couple of the other newer ones. Maybe it was a little bit in Megamind, when the superhero takes off from the ground. Well, yes, he's flying, but he's also kicking off from the ground, and he pushes so hard that when Hancock takes off from the ground, he cracks the concrete or the asphalt. And when he comes in for a landing, he comes in too hot and smashes the ground or does a lot of damage everywhere. And his publicist helps coach him, and it's funny. I think Hancock. I wonder if they got the idea for having a publicist for a superhero a little bit from the earlier one with the.
Mystery Men?
With the Mystery Men, with the wannabe superheroes. Because his publicist actually did a little bit of a better job. And, it's cool. It's nice to have things. But that one sort of goes the opposite direction. It's instead of giving you believable superpowers and just being a great person, now you have a complete loser kind of person with superpowers. That's completely the opposite of Superman. Superman would still be a good guy, even if he didn't have the powers. Yeah. But Hancock is a bad, total bozo, whether he has powers or not. He would still be the same drunk person on the street. He just wouldn't be destroying buildings in the process of trying to be a little helpful.
That's a bad combination. Mm-hmm. Something you said reminded me of something else, and now I just forgot it. Dang it!
Off in the weeds.
We
can wrap up. We've been talking a while. This is longer than we anticipated going this morning anyway. If you come up with it during the next minute, that's great. We can still talk about it. But let's leave on a high note otherwise. Well, it's good seeing y'all this morning. Hey, everybody out there, please like, comment, subscribe. We're seeing some subscribers start to trickle in a little bit on YouTube. Please share with your friends. If you have a favorite episode, send it on over. You can also find us now on Anchor and Spotify, audio and video versions, at least audio versions of these as a podcast format. Check out our YouTube channel. And, of course, you can find us on our website at whatdidIwanttobe.com. Check it out. Tell your friends. And until next time, have a great one.
Thanks.